Welcome you all back. In this video, we'll be looking to how to set up Flutter's SDK in your preferred IDE. I'll be walking through Android Studio setup because I'm going to teach you the Flutter's complete course in Android Studio. So if you are planning on using some other IDE, no problem, you can still follow it. I'll also tell how to import the Flutter project in other IDEs as well. So let's get started. First, you got to download your Flutter SDK and keep it ready. So in order to do that, go to Google and search install Flutter. So the very first link that you get is the official site of Flutter. There are different versions of Flutter available based on the OS you're using. Okay, so there are Windows, Mac, Linux, and Chrome OS. Flutter is available for all these OS. If you're using some other OS apart from Windows, you can get the help of the detailed documentation here. Okay, so you'll be having a zip file here. If you click it, you'll get the pop-up. Okay, so once you save your file, extract it to your desired location and run these codes, so that will set up your Flutter. In this case, I'll be walking through Windows because I make use of Windows. If we go inside the Windows based installer, again you'll be finding a zip file. If you click it, you'll get that download pop-up, and once you download it, go to your downloads and extract your downloaded Flutter SDK to your preferred location. Okay, so I'm planning on extracting it to local disk K. One thing all Windows users need to note is don't download the Flutter SDK in local disk C, especially in locations like program files, because you'll be having issues with elevated permissions, so you won't be able to execute Flutter SDK correctly. You'll be having some errors. So in order to avoid that, don't choose local disk C or any other local disk in which your voice is running. In my case, the other alternate local disk is local disk K. So I want you to set up the Flutter SDK in local disk in which your voice is not present. So I'll be extracting the Flutter SDK, this file in local disk K. So once you click OK, it will be extracted to your location. Now go to the location where you have installed, extracted the Flutter SDK. Okay, so if you click inside, you'll be finding number of files in here. In that, you'll be finding something called bin. Okay, it will be the fifth file from top. If you go inside, just copy the path of bin. Okay, and if you open environmental variable of your system, in order to open that, just go to the Cortana search and enter environmental variable. You'll be finding a search result like this. If you click it, you'll be finding system properties. So there you can find environmental variables. Okay, if you click it, you'll be popped up with environmental variable windows. Here you will be having something called path. Okay, so you got to double click it and got to add your Flutter's bin path here. So in order to add that, click on new. You'll be getting something like this and paste the bin's location in here and click OK. In my case, I have already done that, so I will be doing it again. So OK, and click OK. So now you have linked your Flutter SDK's bin path to the environmental variable, so you will be able to access it in any location you want. So if you want to know if this entire thing has worked correctly, go to command prompt and run flutter doctor. So if this program executes, then everything is correct. You have set it up correct. So this Flutter Doctor will throw you with some warnings if something is missing, so you can find it and install it. You might see this no device available. It's not a problem right now because I have not told you how to run the Flutter application in your mobile phone or your emulator yet. Okay, so it just says that you don't have any medium to run your Flutter application, so you don't need to worry about that. If you don't have Android Studio software installed in your system, then you might not get this green tick. I advise you to install your Android Studio even if you're not using Android Studio to develop your application. So Android Studio provides you emulator, you can make use of that. I'll tell you where to find the correct version of Android Studio. So go to Google and search for Android Studio. It redirect you to the official site where you can download the Android IDE. Okay, so if you click the link, it will be redirecting you to the official site. Here you could download the Android Studio. If you click this, you'll be having this documentation about terms and conditions. If you have patience, read this, else no problem. Go here, click on I have agreed, and then download Android Studio. In my case, it's in Windows, so I'm doing this in for Windows. If you're using some other version, okay, so you can easily walk through. They have different versions. Okay, they have version for Linux. They have Android Studio version for Mac, so it's available, no issues. Once your Android Studio is downloaded, okay, install it. Double click on the executable file, it will install your program. So the installation is not that complex. The setup wizard itself will guide you into the critical downloads that you got to make, so not to worry. So once your Android Studio is set up, go to start and run your Android Studio application. Very first time when you run the Android Studio application, a window pops up. Okay, so you'll get a window like this. So here you'll be finding some options that are not available in your Android Studio when you run it for the very first time. So I have installed some plugins in Android Studio. That's why I'm getting some options in here. So if you go to configuration and go to plugins, you'll have window like this. Go to the marketplace and I want you to install the Dart Flutter plugin. Okay, so if possible, you also install this Key Promoter X because it helps you to remember the shortcuts that are present in Android Studio in order to use Android Studio software efficiently. So once if you download this Dart and Flutter plugins, okay, so the very next time when you run the Android Studio, you'll be finding the options. And again, the AVD manager. So when you click on the AVD manager, you very first time you won't be finding anything. Okay, so this is the manager that helps you to run the virtual devices. Okay, virtual devices in the sense if I'm planning on running this. Okay, so when I start the AVD, I'll be getting virtual mobile application wherein I can run my Flutter application. Let this thing run. Once your emulator starts up, this is how it looks like. So you can run your Flutter application in emulator, or else I'll also tell you how to run your Flutter application in your mobile phone. It's easy. Now if you go and check out the Flutter Doctor, okay, so you'll execute and find everything ticked in green, because this time you won't be having that error because you have an emulator running in background. You will be seeing no issue found. So that's what I was talking about. Okay, so I'll also tell you how to run your Flutter application in your mobile phone, how to use your mobile phone as a debugging device. So first let me teach you how to set up this virtual device. Okay, so it's not that difficult. So very first time when you get this window, okay, you won't be having anything. So go and click here, create virtual device. So one another dialog setup kind of window pops up. Okay, you'll be getting a window like this. Okay, so choose a mobile phone in which you want to, run your Flutter application. So there are a number of devices here. Okay, there are some devices which have Play Store symbols. Okay, many advise you to use such symbols. If you're new to the development environment, you don't need to mind about that. But I prefer using, the mobile emulators that has this Play Store enabled. So once you select it, click on next. So you'll be having some images recommended, okay, and number of images to be downloaded. Okay, so possible number of images available for that particular mobile device that you have selected. So go and choose the image that you want to run your application on. So in my case, I'm choosing R, which is Android version 10 plus. So once you have downloaded it, that is, if you click the download, once the download is finished, you will see that there is no download link available here, which means that your OS is downloaded. The particular Android OS is downloaded. So select the Android OS that is downloaded and click on next. You don't need to mind much in here. If you want to name your Android emulator, then you can give it here. So once if you click finished, the Android emulator will be set up, and you will be having one here. In order to run that, you can click this play thing, and then your Android emulator runs. Now let me tell you how to link your Flutter's SDK in Android Studio. So very first time when you're creating a Flutter project, go to start new Flutter project here. Okay, so like this window will pop up. You select the Flutter application. If you want, if you are looking in development of Flutter plugin, Flutter package, and Flutter module, you can choose whatever you want. But we are going to look into how to develop the Flutter application. So click on next, and you can name your Flutter's app here. Okay, let me name my Flutter app as Flutter Quiz. Very first time we'll be working on how to develop a quiz kind of application, because that's the basic from which I'll be teaching you. So let me create that now itself. Okay, so I'll be naming my Flutter project as a quiz. Okay, Flutter Quiz, and this is the place where you will be linking your Flutter's SDK. Okay, very first time when you open this, you won't be finding anything in here. It'll be empty. So it's okay, go to the browsing window. Okay, so go to the location where you have installed your Flutter's SDK, and click and select it and import it here. It's as simple. Then you can select your location where your Flutter project has to be. I have selected my location, so select where you want your Flutter's project to be created, and you can create it there. Okay, so once you create next, and you'll be having some other window. No need to mind into this for now. So when you click finish, your Flutter project will be created. Once your Flutter project has been created, this is how it looks like in Android Studio. Okay, so this is the default generated Flutter code. Okay, so I'll be running through this Flutter code once after completing the basics of Dart to some extent that is required to understand this code. Okay, so I'll also be walking through each and every files, okay, and what is its purpose, in order to give you some idea about what are these files are purpose are after. Let me also tell you how to create Flutter project without the help of Android Studio. That is, this will be helpful if you're planning on importing the Flutter project in some other IDEs. Okay, so without making use of Android Studio, if you want to create a Flutter project, then you go to command prompt. Okay, so navigate to the location where you want to create your Flutter project. In my case, I'll be navigating to local disk K. Once going to local disk K, and to the folder where you want set up your Flutter application, make use of the keyword Flutter create name of the file. Okay, so your project name should not have any spacing, because it will throw some errors. So it should be without space. So once you execute this command, things will load like this, and once everything is done, then you'll be finding your Flutter project here. In my case, I have created a Flutter project called name project. So if you double click in, this is how the project looks like. Android Studio version of my project is in Flutter project folder, and here you can find the Android Studio version of the project that I have created. So that is Flutter Chris. So that's how you create the Flutter project without the help of Android Studio if you're preferring to use it in some other IDE. I want you to keep all this prepared before moving on to our course. So let's get started. I assume that you have done everything correctly. If you have any issues, please drop it in comments. I will try to sort it out for you. In order for you to run your Flutter application in your mobile device, okay, so what you got to do is go to the developer setting in your mobile phone and enable USB debugging. So after enabling that option, when you connect your mobile device to your system through USB, you will be finding your mobile device here. After that, if you click this play button, then that will run your Flutter application in a mobile phone. So let me show that process with the help of the emulator. So in order to start up the emulator, you'll be finding the AVD manager here. If you click it, then you'll be having the available virtual devices. Okay, so click the play button here. That will launch your virtual device. Okay, so once your virtual device is set up, okay, if you click the run main dot file, okay, so that will run the load and run the main dot file here. So you could see your Gradle building below. When this is done, your Flutter application will pop up here. So now the Flutter application has been built, so you could see the existing default Flutter application is running in here. So in the next video, I'll be talking about the basics of Dart, So once we complete the basics of that are essential in order to understand the construction of application in Flutter, I'll be moving into the Android Studio once again, and we'll be walking through the Flutter's basic and about these files, and then we'll be working on creating our own widgets. So stay tuned.